Oh, Bridgie! And in this one, we're going to be looking at the Humboldt Spanner. Now, it's not a tool review, but it's just my thoughts on these type of hand tools. So if you've watched this channel and you've followed a few repair videos and stuff, you'll probably see in the background that I have a lot of spanners hanging up on the wall there. Now, there's a reason why I do that. I have toolboxes as well, and but the spanners and the hand tools I have hanging up on the wall, and that set there in the middle is right in my eye line, and I can just look up and there's the spanner looking at me rather than me looking for it. So the vast majority of my spanners, they're all metric, and you know, these ones here, these front ones are the ones I would grab first, and the ones behind it are maybe cheaper makes, or you know, they've different, you can see there's different lengths, and so you have, there's 3 19s there, a couple of 18s, and on it goes. And there's 10s, there's 3 different 10s all in the one place and all different lengths. So I'm not a brand snob. There's some cheap stuff here, there's some sort of mid-range stuff. I don't really have really expensive spanners, but you know, it does what it says in the tin. I want it to take nuts off, and I don't really care what it looks like. So we'll just grab 3 there. So there's 3 19s, and yeah, they're all different sizes, and well, there's 2 the same make, but they're kind of different. These are Draper, which would be a home gamer sort of spanner, you know, and alright, you know, not bad. Don't get used an awful lot. That one there is a really old one. So a lot of my stuff is, you know, some of it's pretty old, and don't really use it much now, because in my experience, there's some of the older stuff, especially the cheaper makes, you know, I've broke a lot of spanners in my time, you know. You do get the like certain ones, and you hear a lot of reviews on the YouTube and stuff like that, and they all talk about, you know, the feel in the hand. Well, you know, these things aren't trophies. And the feel in the hand, yes, if it does cut into your hand and it's uncomfortable and you're putting force on it, you know, it's pretty nasty. But the main thing for me is the performance. I have loads of different spanners, all the same size, you know. Obviously it's the range of sizes, but, you know, there's different lengths, different angles, and they all do different things. You want them to take a fastener off. So if you have a rusted fastener, a rusted nut, or a bolt, you know, you don't want this to round them. You want a good grip in that. You know. So what for me is important is you know, the way it goes on to the nut. Also, you know, the length is a big thing. So this is a 19. So you'll find that's, you know, quite large fastener, you know, and for an average car, and that one there might not be long enough. So years ago when I was younger and I didn't have much, I'm just going to show you that, you know, you did this old trick of locking the spanners together, and you did that carry on there, you know, made them twice as long, and you got a good push on that, and that's how you got a lot of nuts off. You know, nowadays, you know, with breaker bars. I have different breaker bars and all that. And these here, I found a great job. These are known as aviation spanners, and well, apparently the guys in the aviation industry have never heard of them, but nevertheless, they're straight on. Now, the advantage of that, what I like about that, is that your pivot point, you're directly below where the nut is. So you're right below the pivot point, you know, where these here all have an offset. Now the idea of the offset is that if you put a spanner onto a fastener, a bolt head, or a nut head, you can get your hand underneath it. That's the idea of that. But if you're underneath the car and you're reaching up, you want to be right below where you're turning. You don't want to be over the left of it or the right of it. So I find these very, very useful because they're straight. Now, this particular make, for the guys that are interested in makes and all, is a cheap make, Bergen. Now, this is a very, very old brand, and years ago it was indeed a European make. All this stuff is made in China. All these Bergen products and all that there. And, that's getting pretty gnarled up. I don't expect too much from these cheap tools. You get a bit of use out of them, and, you find them starting around. This, for example, here, 18mm. This is great for, if anybody's ever taken a gearbox out of a Volkswagen, they'll know the whole thing's held in with 18mm headed nuts. So that's get pretty gnarled up. But that, right away, just cracks it, because there's plenty of length on it. Far more than what I would have on this 18mm, which is, half the length of it nearly. So with a lot of spanners, all different makes. There's that make there again, Bergen. If you can get it in the shot there, focus. There we go, Bergen. And there's it again, Bergen. So pretty cheap. And what I find with these cheaper makes is that you tend to get, the full range. A lot of the more mid-range or expensive makes tend to skip sizes, which is very annoying. And yes, on Reynolds there's a lot of 16mm. On Volkswagens there's a lot of 18mm. 21mm seems to get skipped all the time and all that. Now you may notice the reason why I have that is because that's a 17. Hold on, I'll get a Tang 17 from the wall there, and it's longer. So a lot of these normal sort of sets that you get, they're not very long. I would class that as the average sort of spanner, And Tang, yes, I like Tang stuff, good make. And you do get, you sort of fall in love with certain brands and certain makes because you like the feel of it, you like the finish of it, And when it does the job for you, you tend to prefer them, and that's fine, But as I say, they're not trophies; these are workers. So another really handy tool as well is the old ratchet spanner. Now you might say, well, it's not really a spanner, but well, it's not open-ended and it ratchets, and that's great. And these ones here again, Bergen. I've had these for donkey's ages, and I've put some amount of force on these, and they work great. So you pick up a 10 and then you discover, oh, it's an 11, there's it there, you've already got it in your hand. Flexible, and that way and that way. There's only one disadvantage with this type, because it doesn't have a flick switch. You could back something out and then get yourself stuck, and you can't go the other way. You have to watch that. But the other thing about 10s is, see if you use a lot of these here things, as your 10 goes on it, and away you go with your ratcheting, And I use those quite a lot. Now this is out of a kit made by Draper. I don't know what make that is, because they get marred up very, very easily. Draper Expert, they're a pretty home gamer make. All right, for the you get what you pay for, and it is what it is. But it's just this style that I like. These are permanently sitting in the bench, and they just sit there open all the time. For example, EGR valve in a Volkswagen PD engine, the Allen head is in upside down. You can put that on there and slide that right up to it and have full control over it, and you're doing that completely blind. So that's how I do that. And I'll show you another version of these. Is these boys here, Bajo, Swedish company, owned by Snap-on. Snap-on bought this company out, and I've written on it the sizes there because it skips. So 8, 10, 13, 14, 17, 19 now. So it skips sizes. That's disappointing. Now Facom do a complete set of these sort of stubby ratchet jobbies, but they're very expensive. This wee set here was about 30 quid. And again, you see that wee 10? Our favourite size. See that wee 10 there? That has pulled me out of I don't know how many holes. See, if you do a lot of engine work, a lot of tight stuff, and components that are way down deep and you can't even see it or whatever, and this is a flick job, what you tend to find is the straight ones are they've no forwards and backwards, forward and reverse, and you just flip them around, and they don't have a flick switch on it, and they'll tend to be straight. If it has a flick on it, it gives you that angle for your fingers. So this wee boy here, again, we can put our wee Torx into it, and even better than that, there's a wee ring in it as well. I don't know if you can see it there, just there. There's a wee ring in it, and that actually holds it. Forwards and backwards, upside down, all sorts of stuff, and that fits in my fingers. So it's a good length, So I really like that wee kit, apart from the fact that it skips sizes. Now, regarding stubbies, there is a 19mm stubby. So you're not gonna break a 19mm headed nut with that, So that's only for being able to, run it out or something. But you need to get something else onto the thing first, before that even comes into play. And here we have a longer version of that ratchet spanner. Again, Bergen is the make, and it's not so pretty affordable, these things, So for stuff this, you're not going to use that all the time, but the length of it. So these ones here would be my go-to one. Now, the only thing that I've noticed is that because these are longer, this head is a lot beefier. So a big thing that you look at with spanners is how deep is that, how wide is that, because that can affect your access, getting it in. The other thing is how thin it is or thick it is. You might think, well, thicker's better, but there's some places you'll not get a thick one in there, and you want a nice thin spanner. And yeah, these ones here, I was a wee bit disappointed in these because the head is a lot bigger. So I found nuts or places that this style here fits on, whereas this one doesn't, and it's because that there is a lot bigger. But it's a lot bigger because the thing's a lot longer, and it's stronger then, I take it, for because you're going to be expected to put more force onto it. So yeah, okay, not bad, decent enough buy. If you went for something like that in a different make, it would be seriously expensive, and for occasional use, it's just it's whatever your budget allows. But the way I look at it is that if I not cheap out, but if I buy that's an occasional use type thing that's a bit cheaper, it'll allow me to buy another style of spanner which will serve another function. So the point here that I'm trying to make is that even though a lot of this stuff is the same size, they all do something different, So that'll get in somewhere where that won't, and that'll get something off that won't because it's too short, So I'll maybe show you another couple of other things. I'll show you a couple of bad ones. What about that? Here's a kit here, and I have this hanging on the other wall, and some of the videos you might have noticed it. And these are made by this company, SATA, and this is the only thing that I have by SATA. I have no idea who they are. I don't know whether it's the spray gun manufacturer or not, but this thing has a wee trick up its sleeve. But it does a couple of purposes, so they do get used. This ratcheting open end, and there's a wee try-me thing here. So that there try-me thing is for the 17mm. And what it has is, I'll see if I can bring you into focus there. It has this wee pin in the open end. So you see that wee pin there, So, and I keep saying all the time, and I'm aware of it, so you don't need to tell me. So the idea is that it raids over the hex, and then grips. It's supposed to, anyway, So that's the idea of that. But it has a pretty good ratchet end on it, and because it's not flexy, then this can come in handy if you're trying to poke it in somewhere. So if you're trying to get that in through somewhere, in past a bumper or something like that, a flexi, you've no control over. Whereas that, you can pop it onto a fastener. So, and you still have your ratchet end. So they are still useful, but purely because of that. That is a load of rubbish. You'll see people demoing these, probably, where they have a bit of wood and they have bolts in the bit of wood, and they have all the room in the world, and they'll go, oh, look at this here, that goes round and that turns that, So if you have to flip it over to go the other way, and you flip it that to go that way. So with an ordinary spanner, you can do that with it. Not so with this contraption, So you can't go the other way because it'll raid over it. Now the other thing is, you may notice there that I don't know, it's sort of half gripping that, and it's sort of semi. Captured here in this face here. For the grip, you need to have a massive swing on the spanner, and sometimes it just doesn't grip well enough. So before I bought that set there, I said to a friend of mine, that's in there. So before I bought that set, I said to a friend of mine, here, I seen this thing with a ratchet and open end. I thought that would be handy, for like a tie rod or something, or some sort of adjustable thing where you can just rattle away at it. And he said to me, waste of money. We tried them and no good. Seems like a good idea, but all these gimmicks, it just doesn't work. Not in the real world, anyway. So I'll just show you what you can get. Now, I don't know if there's any other manufacturers make these here, but along the same sort of line as these aviation spanners, which are normal hacks, you can actually get. Now, this is this company, US Pro, that you see on eBay, and that's the same as that Bergen company. And I'm saying that as if with like a sort of like a disdain, they're grand. See for all the money. That was maybe like 20 quid for that. And that's, pretty much every size of Torx there, that female Torx that you'll ever need. And brilliant length, get a good hoof on it. And if you ever work at Vauxhalls and stuff like that, and you're trying to loosen the caliper carrier, you stick that on it, and you've got this box end, so you get a good bit of purchase onto the nut there. That's if you can't get a socket on it, if there's suspension components in the way and stuff like that. These have come in useful, not occasional use again, and they're pretty cheap, so I can justify cheap for occasional use as long as it's cheap, The odd time I come across what I perceive to be a bit of a bargain, and I sort of can't resist it. And I'm gonna actually share with you where I got some of these sort of branded tills. Now, if you look at this company here, this German style villa company on Amazon, you're looking at €150 for nearly anything that they do. Pretty expensive. And this particular set, double open end. And, you know, okay, I thought I wasn't going to mention feeling the hand. These here are really, really light. You know, you wouldn't think you had it in your hand. You know what I mean? And yeah, really, really nice finish. Really, really smooth. And you just caress it. You know, they're nearly too good to use, these here. So when you go up into that sort of make, and this is where these things come into their own. So this one here is it's off that big black holder that I have on the wall, and these are, you know, cheapo, beat about sort of spanners, good for sort of counter holding and stuff like that. And if you're going to use the open end, wouldn't recommend it, because they are what some people call nut rounders, you know. But they still have their purpose, you know, and that's the whole point about it. So that's 17¼ mil there across. So I'll just do that, zero that. I'll just do that again, just so that wasn't, you know, a bad point there. 17.17. I'll try it a bit further up. 17.22 at near the end of it. 17.20. So that's dead on. We'll just zero that again to make sure. And we'll get our Stahl Villa here. And we'll have a wee go at that. 17.04. 17.04. 17.06. Near the end. So yeah, there you go. But cheapo tools have their place, I think, anyway. So here's what you can do with a cheapo tool. Here is an injector nut remover, which cost me £2. And that thing there works great, believe it or not. So your high pressure line goes through there and you're on it, and it doesn't move. Now, the reason why I had to make that, I have flare nut spanners and stuff, and the reason why I had to make that, there's some Mercedes on the 3-litre V6 Merc, the nut that goes on the injector pipe is recessed, and you have no room in around the outside of the nut to the sort of body of the injector. So that has to sort of go in there like that, you know. And if you can't get an open end on them, and you can't get any swing because of other components in the way, and you don't want to start stripping half the engine down just to break one nut free, then you get a cheapo spanner and you modify it. I'll just show you a wee ratchet set that I got a while back, Bajo, and you think, there's only 3 in that, you know. And this wasn't dear. This was about 30 quid. That make Bajo, they're really good tools for the price, I think, anyway. But this is all my own opinion, and you know, at the end of the day, everybody's got their own preferences, and it's whatever works for you. And see the thing about a spanner, see if it gets a nut off, then it's paid for itself. That's it. And some of this stuff, it's not specialized, it's occasional use, and you know, the minute that it gets something off, then an ordinary spanner won't, because it's too long, or the angle's wrong, or it doesn't bite on it well, then guess what? It's paid for itself. So here we go, a wee flick on that side, but we'll have, I don't know, to get the end of focus, 16 there, 19 there, 18 on that side, and 17 on that side. So there's four sizes there, you know. So that'll go that way, and then you flicker around for the other side. But on the wee flicker then is away from you, and those ones there are straight on, you know. So yeah, it's pretty good. But the thing about these is this the depth here. So if we have a look at the other ratchet spanners, this one here, for example, you know. So if I have a look at that ratchet spanner, and then we get that in the shot, we can see an extra purchase. So if your bolt head is in a recess, then that won't get onto it, you know, because you know, you're going to hit the flange or the recess or whatever. But this will, you know, and that saved my bacon there only yesterday. I'm going to show you. I'll only put something down here, 'cause this thing is absolutely stinking. Out of the way. Put that like that. Here's a sump. Very rusty. Very leaky. Somebody's put a bit of epoxy on it there to stop it from the flipping oil just flying out of this thing. So we have a flange here, and one of these bolts was up in, and the exhaust flange went to about the middle here, and I didn't want to take the catalytic converter off and all that. So an ordinary spanner isn't going to get on that head, and you only had a wee type space of a swing. So, wipe my fingers. So what got that bolt there was the 10, and because it's got that wee extra bit on it there, that wee box end, that was able to get up in for me. So there you go, paid for itself right away. So everything I've showed you up to now has been sort of relatively newish, you know, stuff that I've bought from eBay. Oh yes, I was going to show you that Baco stuff, the Baco stuff, the Tang stuff, and oh yeah, I haven't showed you I've a set of Facom spanners now. They're pretty new. I only have them about. Hold on, I'll get them here. So these have another sort of couple of tricks up their sleeve. This is a Facom spanner, French company, but I think they're made in Taiwan, so a lot of things are outsourced. And what is that? There's an 18. So again, you look at the box on it, you have the offset, so it is going to sit like that, but there's a far larger box end on it than what you would get on a normal spanner there. And the other thing is, as well, is you see the way that there's cut in there. Look at the profile there compared to that. Let's see if we can get it in the shot for you. So they're both the same size, 18mm. Look at the depth of the cut. This has some sort of profile on these teeth. It's like rounded, so it really is a snug fit. So I'll maybe get a bolt head and I'll show you. So here's a 17, brand new nut. So if you're working on rusty cars, you know, once you give that a good old rattling or whatever, bits of rust fly off it. So that's a bit of the nut, you know, a bit of the material is gone, you know, it's fallen onto the floor. So the nut effectively nearly, you know, reduces in size, and the points that you're sort of trying to grab makes it easier to round. So if you look at how snug that fits in there, and that's a new bolt head, of course, but you see how, let's see, aha, there we go, in the focus. You see my fingerprints. You see how snug that is there? And that, what they call OGV, whatever that stands for, OGV range there. So you can see that sort of profile. So these Facom spanners, they have another speciality. Yes, it's a 17mm spanner, but if you get a nut that has lost its points, it's sort of ready to round, there's a fair chance that will actually grip it, rather than let me see, an ordinary 17. Let me see, we'll get a cheapo 17 here. What's this? Draper. And we'll look at that in comparison. You see that? So there's actually a gap there where it's not gripping at all. So it's actually, there's extra teeth. Let's see if we can get what's that there? Where was that? Where is the stuff now? It's 17. Tang Tools 17. Let's see how that performs here. Okay. So you see what's going on there with that Facom? That is, let's have a wee look at that. You see how, oh, stay focused, stay focused. So you see how that is a lot tighter in there than that one. So I think you get the idea what I'm on about, but I can wobble that about in there, you know, and the Facom, well, still holds about a bit, but nowhere near as much. That is a snug fit in there, and as I say, the profile of the teeth, they're like rounded there, so that it grips it better. It's almost as if they're sharper, you know. It's a sharper sort of cut on them. Where's that Tang one again? Keep running away. See, the spanners get lost, that's why I need to hang them up, you know. So they're sitting in front of me, I can't find them. So anyway, right. So yeah, okay. I think you get what I'm talking about. You can clearly see that's gripping that a lot better, and I'll maybe just measure that as well. Right, where's my measuring gauge? Turn it on. I'll give that a go on there. See, what does that say? 16.8. That can't be right. There we go. I'll just zero that a minute. Let's have a look now. Oh, 17.09. 0.10. So it looks like the Stalvilla is still the winner on accuracy. At 17.05. There. I'm holding that with a bit of pressure. If I put pressure on it, it'll go up. But I have to have very lightly touching there. So definitely Stalvilla is still the winner. So, you know, what these are for then is if I can only get an open ender onto a fastener, they're my go-to ones, because, you know, they seem to have the best tolerance on the open end. If I'm getting a nut that's nearly ready to round, you know, we'll change over to the Facom ones. And oh yes, I was going to show you now. None of this stuff is recommended. This is not sponsored. No links available on this channel now. You know that. Hopefully you know that by now. No links. I'm not promoting anything, selling anything. I'm not selling any of this. But I'm going to show you where I got most of this stuff from. This guy here has an eBay shop. Delivers to me. It's in England somewhere. Bath. And I'll get the end of the shot there. Bath. There's his phone number. And there's that Stalvilla set. So that Stalvilla set, I'm going to tell you, was less than 40 quid. Now, I paid about 33 quid for it or something. That Stalvilla set there, getting you in the focus again. I paid about £33 for that. And I thought it was the wrong price on it. I thought it was, you know, something strange about it. Was it counterfeit? Was it stolen? I don't know. So this guy here again is selling that set, and I think he's looking £39.95. I think it is pound sterling, and delivered to your door on his eBay shop. That is. I haven't looked at his website to see if it's any different, and he does all those brands. I do not have any of those at all in spanners. I have a few of them, but they're really, really old. Beta Tools, that Italian company, I've never ever used. And Ghidorah, we're going to look at some Ghidorahs here. And, well, Vera, I have Vera screwdrivers and a couple of ratchets. Oh, yes, I might do another one of these, only it's a ratchet. Ratchet, sockets, extensions, and, what the considerations with those are. Right, just before we go on to old stuff, I nearly forgot about this one here that I bought not too long ago as well. And again, dirt cheap. This whole roll was like £22, 18 piece, no skipping at all. And you might think, wowee, that's unbelievable. And yeah, sort of is. And I'm going to show you something. So it's made by, obviously you can see Laser, and that is like a sort of mid-range sort of brand in the UK. Makes a lot of sort of specialty tools, pullers and stuff, and they have some very, very good innovations, let's say, and some of their stuff isn't that cheap at all. But here's a set of spanners, and I can see what the crack is with these. So there's a Laser spanner there, and what size is it? 18. So I've deliberately selected an 18, and we'll have a look at the back of it. Chrome vanadium, stamped in, and yeah, it seems to be chunky enough. So I'm going to show you another spanner that I have, and it's just an oddment one, and it's this. This is a really, really sort of budget, cheap make Silverline, and that there is identical to that in every way. So I don't know where it's going to come up on camera there or not. If I can get you into focus, it is exactly the same. So that Laser is basically, it came out of the same forge as that, and they've just that's an etched name on it. So that's came out as a blank, and anybody can put their own name on it. Anybody that wants to. And this one here, that is Silverline, is stamped. And yeah, but anyway, apart from that, so the only difference is the maker's name. And I'll tell you why I was disappointed. You may think, well, so what? You've already said your cheapo spanners have a purpose, and if you're going to beat on them, use them, abuse them, then you're going to do it with these ones, and you don't really care too much about them. And if you lose them, break them, whatever. And I haven't broke a spanner in ages, and I think the reason is because I'm because of more tools now, and I'm a wee bit older, and I have more stuff. I'm using the appropriate tool for the appropriate job. So, instead of locking the two spanners together, which I may have used to have done, because it didn't have a longer one, and then you end up breaking the spanner because you're putting too much on it. And I think some of the older stuff, especially the cheaper stuff, it was rubbish. It wasn't great, and I'm nearly sure it all came out of the same factory as well. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But here's why I don't like these. And they talk about the feel in the hand. And you look at all these reviews, and they say, it's a good feel in the hand, good feel in the hand. And I go, what's that got to do with where it feels in the hand? See these here? When you grip this, it actually hurts your hand. It sort of bites into your hand. That is sort of pointy. I don't know where I can get that or not. So that goes into like a point there, and so it's fat there, and it narrows down to an edge, and that actually bites into your hand whenever you're putting force on it. So they're a horrible feel in the hand. It's the worst I've came across. Right, moving swiftly on, and we're going to go into some odd stuff, older stuff, and this is probably running on too long as usual. But if you're really interested, and you might get something out of this, there's that homemade flare knot tool. So these are like odd spanners that I have in the box. Some, and I don't really use them anymore, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, let's have a wee look. Right, this is an old spanner, one of the very, very few Imperial sizes that I have. Don't use Imperial at all. And it's, see that JTI that is made in India. So this company, JTI, is a massive producer of drop forging and spanners, and on their website they say they make 85% of the world's automotive spanners. So a lot of these spanners, everybody thinks they're made in China. There's a hell of a lot of them are made in India. And, you know, there's a Ghidorah. I have a few of these, Ghidorah, Germany, you know, and that's been modified. Here's another Ghidorah in India. Now, Ghidorah didn't start making their own stuff until, in relation to spanners anyway. So they didn't have a drop forging facility in Germany until about 1986, as far as I know. So anything that says Ghidorah India is pre 1986. And you see this spanner, it's basically scrap. You know, I don't know where it's coming up in camera or not, but that head isn't even circular. Now, whether it was when it was made, I don't know, but it's pretty well beaten up. And what is that? A wee 9. So that's pretty unusable. This here used to be a wee favourite one. It's a bit like the small one that I did, a wee offset. Still use it, but you know, it's got a hell of a lot of wear in it, and there's hardly any teeth left on it. So it's a bit like we'll get a bit of light on it. See if it helps. You want to focus? Hold on a minute. Does that help? So anyway, that's a nut rounder. You know, 11, a lot more teeth than 11, not used as much. You know, so pretty much worn out. That way, that's just says India on it. Yeah, drop 4's India. Let's have an army look. What's this one here? Drop forged. No maker's name. Pretty beat up. And a lot of these boxed ends I'm seeing, and these older spanners on the cheaper sort of makes, or no make at all, you know, they're not even circular. You know, what's that? This one here. Let me see again. You can just make out Ghidorah. Is it upside down? Ghidorah, yeah. And it's just worn out. It's just an old spanner. It's got heavily used. I used to use that an awful lot for you know, fan bolts, nuts that hold a fan on the water pump, which you don't get much anymore of because it's all electric fans. But that was a handy tool for that, and they were normally 13 mil or half inch. So here's a you know, a newer one, Ghidorah Germany, and it's in good condition. So I'm going to show you some other old stuff. Okay, again, I know, and he's probably been working on cars for 50 years, and I don't think I'm exaggerating. And I know he has a lot of old spanners. He's had them for years and years and years. And I said to him, I'm going to do a review of spanners. You know, do you want to give us some of your collection, and we'll have a wee look at them? And he went, aye, no bar. So here they are. And it's all the best of stuff. So we'll get a look at a few of these. Now, these aren't mine. These have been lent to me, and I have to keep them in the same pile. And look at that in there. That's a Stahl Villa, and that's 1 7/8 the length of that. And let's see. There's a good one there. I've never seen that before. Stronger than any bolt. Alloy steel. There you are, chrome. So it's in the process of dechroming. But that, again, very, very light for the size of it, you know. Some span on that. I'm telling you, what we've got here, that is something that I've never heard of either. ADESA. ACESA. ACESA. What's that? Spain. Alright, okay. 19 and 18. That's unusual. Normally it's 1917. 1918. Okay. What's that? Made in West Germany. Now, okay. That has to be pre 1990 because Germany reunified. So that has to be over 30. It has to be over 30 years old. So we can sort of date that. Selected special style. Okay, got interrupted there. Where are we? Right. We're not going to go through all these. We'll just take a selection. Kennedy Professional, 21. Good length to it. Yeah, that's a tie rod end job, that one. Let me see what else we got here. This guy has some core tools like USA. Snap on. 10 and 12. Bit of chrome coming off it there. But yeah. It's not deformed. It looks pretty good. Still very usable, that. Let's pick another random one here. Chrome vanadium. What does that say? Chrome vanadium. Right, nothing to report there for that one. What's this? Patent pending. Oh, you might recognise that. Italic style of writing. That's Snap-on USA. That's the original italics. I don't know how they still do the italics or not. I don't have any Snap-on hand tools at all. There's another one. 16 mil on that. That's a Britool. When Britool was Britool. Size is on there. 15. It's getting a bit rusty. So this guy told me he just keeps these in a box. They just kick about in a box. Oh, what's that? Mac. Knuckle saver. And that, it's just squared off there. See that? Yes, patent. USA. So, I don't know where he got this stuff from. This stuff, it's all over 30 years old, I would say. There's a bit of muck on that. Another Snap-on USA one. Oh, he's got an old Tang. 13 mil. See, but anything else? There's a small stubby Snap-on USA. So I think, as far as I know, the Snap-on stuff. There's another. It doesn't say USA on them anymore because it's not made in the USA. There's that Akeza from Spain. None of those. Oh, there's a Facom. When it was made in France. Vanachrome. Similar sort of profile to what they have today. And there's a Ghidorah. He has. Germany. Kamasa tools. They were a good tool in their day, you know. Have a few sockets of them. They held up quite well. There's no Britool England. So the Britool stuff now, again, I don't think you see England on it. Snap-on USA. 15 mil, the italic type writing. So there we go, boys. So the point of the video is that you know, you might have the same size as spanners, and spanners are spanners, but they're a workhorse and different lengths, different sizes. Yeah, well, obviously you need different sizes, but you know, different lengths, different angles, different box ends, you know, different tolerances. And oh yeah, if I look at the ends of these, see these Snap-on ones? These Snap-ons have wee ridges in the ends there for catching the nut, you know. So I haven't used these. These aren't mine. I haven't used them myself. So I have no idea whether that is a good thing or not. And that one there's got a bit of wear on it there. That Snap-on USA one. So they're all been well used and probably abused. And did we look at this one before? What's that? Don't know what that says. Chrome, just. Australia. Made in Australia. My God. What is that? Chrome or something? Don't know. Right. Okay, I think that's it. I think that wraps up the video there. I'll just show you this one last one here, which is a wee bit unusual. Snap-on with very strange sort of lowercase writing, a capital S. It's 10mm. I'm going to flick it over. Canada. So, there you go. Snap-on Canada. Don't think I've seen that before. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Maybe you got something out of it. Maybe not. Maybe you thought it was a load of nonsense. But each their own. And yeah, you just build up tools over time. You know, if you went out to buy all that stuff, it costs you a fortune. And some of the budget stuff's all right. You know, these days it's not bad. It really isn't bad. And you know, if you're a tool snob or you know you're a brand, you stick to a brand. If you want to stick to Snap-on or Mac or any of them, you're going to be out an awful lot of money. And you might think, a spanner's a spanner. Well, I don't think so, you know. And long spanners seem to be a pretty rare thing these days. And, you know, it just goes to show you the older stuff. There was a lot more to it. Okay, that's it. All the best. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.